Hey guys, I'm here at 89.3 FM and I'm with Three Quirks and we have a special guest, Tim Dwyer. He's here and we're going to talk about fear and how to tap into that. So we're giving away 4 USBs, valuable information that help break down and understand the roots, but also we're here to actually get you understanding how to actually move on from understanding from your fear. Anyway, Tim Dwyer is in the house today, so stay tuned.
Oh yeah, 89.3 FM, Chris, let's go crazy! And I guess it is one of those fantastic songs, classic song that will never go out of fashion. And folks, we have Mr. Tim Dwyer joining with the Two Quirks at 89.3 FM today. How are you going, Tim?
I'm fantastic, thank you. I'm
fantastic.
having a great day.
Before the intermission, we were talking about where you were coming from, and you're actually from Adelaide, isn't it right?
That's correct.
So Adelaide is a place that is so nice, so many heritage buildings, there's so many churches around there. Is that still the case in Adelaide?
A lot of the churches now are discos, clubs, bars. Yeah, discos, clubs. They went from discos to clubs to bars.
Yeah.
There's still a few churches there.
Okay.
And but it's still a country town.
Yeah, yeah. But the problem what I heard so many years ago is a lot of young people are moving away from Adelaide. Is that because of employment is a big issue in Adelaide?
Employment is a big issue, and the young people are finding so much more opportunity in Sydney and Melbourne and Brisbane. And of course, once they've gained a skill set and built a relationship in those cities, it's very hard for them to go back because, well, Adelaide is a slow little town, and once you've been into this lifestyle, you just really don't want to go back to Sleepy Hollow. And you know, I think Adelaide is almost becoming a retirement city.
Wow.
Sad to say.
It's a beautiful city though.
It is.
I went to, is it the German place? I think I went there. I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah,
What's it called?
Harndorf.
Yeah, I think that was it. It was a beautiful place. Had breakfast there. And I just felt like I was walking. Similar reminds me of like the Blue Mountains, like just a little strip of like the little shops and the cafes and stuff. That was so beautiful. I loved it.
Yeah,
it's a glorious place, Harndorf, and the food there, the German food.
Yes.
Oh.
Unbelievable. I love the German food, especially the pork hock.
Yeah.
How can we actually finish it, because we're...
It is huge.
It's massive. Like that's a plate for the whole family.
Yeah. I actually try that, and with the sauerkraut, oh, that's to die for.
Yeah. And look, when you go into those places and you buy that food, if you're on a diet, forget it. You know, you've just wiped it out for the next month. You really have.
Yeah.
But the beautiful part about it is a lot of that produce they grow in the Adelaide Hills. They do not buy it in from overseas like the sauerkraut they make in Harndorf.
Yeah. Wow. So that's one good thing, because we'll touch base on the farmers issue and what they're doing at the moment. And I guess in Adelaide, I know that the Adelaide people tend to support the local people a fair bit, the farmers, the industry and that. So maybe when we come back to the topic, you can share a bit more how you guys are doing, what we can learn from Adelaide as well.
We'll try.
But going back through your bio, I mean, like you were in an accident going 200 k's an hour. I mean, that's crazy, mate. Were you the driver of the car? Or what was the story there?
Well, look, it was a very, very bad accident, and that was 30 odd years ago.
Yeah.
And what it was I just bought a brand new Holden V8 ute.
As you do.
As you do. And
Holden.
my brother and I had finished setting up the catering. We had a catering business, and we'd set up catering at the Ballarat Cup, and it was all running nicely. So we thought we'd go back into town. We had a hotel in Ballarat.
Yeah.
And there was a guy running late to put a bet on a horse, so he pulled out on the crest of a hill, past 4 cars in the pouring rain, and we were coming up the other side, and the combined impact of the 2 cars was 220 kilometres an hour.
That's crazy.
And you do get a bit messed up in those things.
Oh, wow. But moving forward though, like you've actually got an audio out, right? Is it an audio book or is it actually a book? An audio book, is it?
No, it's a
CD.
A CD. 15 tracks on that.
Okay, and you want to focus on fear, life. There are no secrets. Life is a game. Please explain, because life is a game. In what way is life a game to you and to us?
Well, if I've got to bounce back to that accident.
Okay, let's do that. Let's take us back there. Jump in your time zone. Take us back.
Okay, quickly zap back 30 odd years, and I was basically into hard manual physical labouring work.
Okay.
That was after that accident. I could no longer do that sort of work. I couldn't stand for long periods. I couldn't lift what I used to lift, and in hospitality and catering, you're on your feet all the time.
That's right.
So move forward after the accident. Firstly, I was blessed to still be alive.
Yeah.
Barely, but still alive. And then what I found was I had to find different things to do and think of myself differently.
Yeah.
And the fear I had of taking on a different role, stepping into a whole different world. I went into selling, I went into car sales, and it was terrifying because I'd never done anything like that before. And I realised that every time I made a move, terror literally, I had this little voice in the back of my head. I didn't know how to shut it down.
Was that because of the accident? Is that the reason why? That you still had the fear?
No, it wasn't the fear of the accident, I don't think. I think it was just the fear of the unknown. What if? You know, what if I try and do this and I fail?
Yeah.
What if I make an absolute goose of myself?
Sounds like a human being to me.
Yeah, we all do that. I still do things that,
It's monkey business.
Yeah.
Well, that's right. And so what I did was, when I first started in selling, they took me to a Tom Hopkins seminar, and I heard a phrase that said, "It is the nature of the thought that alters everything."
That's interesting.
Explain that. What does that mean?
Well, it is how you perceive your thoughts that alters your actions. It alters your responses to everything.
So it's all about mindset though, isn't it?
Well, it is all about mindset. Mindset's a very...
it's powerful.
It's a powerful thing, but people throw mindset around like as if everybody's got control of their own mindset, which literally most people don't, because when they, if you were to look at a new venue or a new adventure or whatever, you'd have this little voice in the back of your head saying, "Oh, I don't know, are you sure you want to do that? That's, you know, you could come unstuck."
Yeah.
I call that little voice, I've got a name for him. That's Wawa.
Yeah.
Wow,
yes.
wow. Wow, wow.
Wawa keeps going wow, wow, wow.
Wow, wow, wow.
And Wawa interrupts the positive mindset. Wawa is very focused on, he feeds on negative, right? So he's in control of our mindset. And so then what I did is I moved along in sales. I became quite good at it. And I then started speaking at industry functions. And I loved that. I thought, this is a good gig, I like this. And then I travelled all over Australia. I spoke in every capital city. I then did New Zealand. We did some stuff in the US.
So what was it, a circuit about? Did you actually travel around talking about your experience, or the actual fear factor?
Basically, it was a combination of the fear factor and understanding who everybody is in themselves. You see, what it was all about was personal performance from the inside out. You and I, we've got this body, we can't hide that from anybody, everybody sees that. Then we've got this group of friends around us who we let know who we are, but then there's that real you and I right in the middle, we don't tell
So it's like a facade, you're saying, like people put on a facade, but inside that facade, people don't really know who you are. Is that right?
That's right.
And your job is what? Is trying to teach people how to read that facade or how to deal with that?
No, my job is teaching people to understand that inside that facade is the real person, and let that real person out. It's okay. And what I do is I show them we have a system that enables people to drop fears, and it doesn't matter what it's about. It could be fear of public speaking, it could be anything at all, and we can wipe that fear out in minutes. They might have anxiety, we wipe it out in minutes. And with that process that I have, it enables people then to become their full, true self and let that full, true self out.
Yeah. So you're trying to teach people how to master their fear. Yeah. That sounds like a hard job, mate.
Well, you would look at that on the outside and say that is almost impossible, right? I thought the same, and where I learnt this was from a gentleman in the US. This particular process, and it wasn't fear that I went to see him about. It was anger. Yeah. I had a real, I won't even bother you with the story, right? But I had some real...
We all have those moments, mate. We all have those moments.
And I thought, no, here we go again. This guy's, he's going to just slap 2 dead fish over me. And, you
don't want that to happen.
Yeah, right?
Is that, do they still use that terminology? Slap those 2 fish around you? No, they don't use that.
Anyway.
Show your age.
Well, hey.
He's still young at heart.
He's only 41. He's only 41 years old.
Yeah. So anyway, within 15 minutes, the anger had gone.
Wow.
And I said, I have to learn this.
Yeah, right.
And that's what I did.
Amazing, amazing. Okay, let's hold that thought, Tim. We'll get Channel 9 News up and we'll be right back after this.
The father who shot dead his children in their West Pennant Hills home. A Navy SEAL diver dies trying to rescue boys trapped in flooded Thai caves. The warning you need to know about the MyGov website. Did a missing smoke
activity that you actually get people to do.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Okay, that's interesting.
Right? And in doing that, they're focusing on the whatever the fear or the anger or the disappointment or the unforgiveness. It doesn't matter what the negative emotion is, but fear is the big one. Then we alleviate that, and if it could be 10 out of 10, and we'll bring that down until it's a 1. And who cares?
But fear, to girls, I don't know about you girls, but do you girls go through like fear in your life? I know fear is just like an illusion, right? It's all in the mind, and you're teaching people how to conquer that fear. But a lot of people say that you also need to believe in yourself, right, before you can conquer those fears. Now, as our society, as a modern society we're growing up in, is a lot of people have so many issues in modern society these days. And with the fear factor, a lot of people say you need to laugh at your fear to be able to conquer that. Would you agree with that, Tim?
Oh, look, I agree to laugh at your fears. Yeah. However, that's not going to get you over the fear. That is not going to take the fear away. That gives you some control, but it doesn't take the fear away. It doesn't take the negative emotion out.
Okay.
And, you know, in working with trauma victims, they can still remember the trauma, but the fear is gone, the anger is gone because of this process, this mind process I take people through. And, you know, fear is not just one thing. Yeah. Fear is so multifaceted. It's incredible, but the processes we use, if I'm working with a client one-on-one, if I cannot get them past their circumstance within the first hour of the consult, they do not pay me because I have not performed as I said.
So is that your guarantee to your service?
On a one-on-one basis.
On a one-on-one basis, yeah.
On a one-on-one basis, I give a guarantee that if I can't fix your problem, whether it's fear, anxiety, depression, it doesn't matter what it is, then I do not have the right to take your money.
Tim, give us an example of someone that you've helped.
Well, there was a lady who, her husband was working away in the mines, and every time he would go to leave, so he'd fly in and fly out. So he'd be gone for 2 weeks, home for 2 weeks. Prior to him leaving, for about an hour or so before, she would be curled up in a fetal position, crying her eyes out. She had no idea why. Once he'd been gone for a couple of hours, she was all right. She was fine while he was away. She was fine when he came home, but when he went to leave. Well, it boiled down. We had to do a fair bit of work with this lady, but it boiled down that emotion, that negative emotion, that anxiety of him leaving, that fear, if you want to call it that, came about because when it worked out that when she was 2 days old, her mother handed her to the nurse for adoption.
So she can still relate back.
She still had that in her subconscious.
Wow.
Isn't it?
And
Blows
within,
mind.
once we got down to that point, once we got there, within the hour, she was as good as gold.
Wow.
And she's never, ever, ever, ever had that separation anxiety.
2 days
ever
old.
again.
That's just.
And I can still remember that. I don't think I remember that when
No,
I was
but-
2 years old.
well,
No, because your
You do.
subconscious
No,
takes everything.
2 days old, right?
Yeah.
Your subconscious stores everything. It will act. It's been proven that it will actually store sounds and events and anxieties that your mother went through whilst you were in the womb.
Yeah,
That's
I hear
madness.
stories like that. So, you know, like, do you use what kind of method or system do you use? NLP, hypnosis, and that to put people into that mood?
No, there's no hypnosis, right? And I suppose you could call it, there's a bit of a cross-section of NLP and some other modalities.
Okay.
And in doing that, and this is what we've developed, so as that we get this astonishing result. And, you know, with drug addicts, when I was working in drug rehabs in Adelaide, the drug addicts, it's considered a success if you can get somebody off drugs for 3 weeks. You're a success. Then they go back again, right?
Yeah.
Well, every activity that, it doesn't matter whether it's drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, doesn't matter what it is, it has a deep-seated core emotional driver. When you get down and you break that core emotion, then there's no need for the addiction. And that's, we did it over and over and over and over again.
You talk about tap and change the world. Can you maybe elaborate to us what is that and how can we actually apply that to our normal daily lives?
This is part of an energy system on the bottom of your hand, right? And just on your collarbone, right? And what happens is the Chinese, thousands of years ago, figured out that if you stuck pins in certain places, we now know that is acupuncture, right? Well, we perform a certain, I suppose, mental acupuncture, if you like, whilst holding pressure on the bottom of the palm of your hand, under your collarbone. And in doing that, what we do is it activates different parts of the brain and the subconscious.
Okay, that's the Maggie, have you experienced any of this kind of method before in your
No,
life?
I am just so blown away, and
Yeah.
that's why I'm keeping myself quiet because I'm just taking in every single word that you're saying.
So what Tim Dwyer is talking about is the tapping is the other. There's another name. It's called EFT.
Yeah, you can use EFT. There's a component of that in what we do as well.
So can you tap your stress away?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think there is a method called tapping, isn't it?
Yes,
there is something in the
is.
modality.
Yeah.
You talk about modalities and all that.
Yeah.
I believe there is a method called tap.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
And even today they're using that now. They're starting to use that in schools for children's behaviour.
Yeah.
I used it years ago for kids who were dyslexic.
Right.
And children who are dyslexic, they look at a sheet of paper and the words jump around, or there's rivers of black or rivers of, there's a lot of different areas of it. And it takes about half an hour to get a child over dyslexia, so as that not only can they read, but they can comprehend what it is they're reading.
Okay. Guys, you listen to 89.3 FM. If you want to share anything with us, hit us up on our Facebook, 3 Quirks and Tech. But it's Friday. Get some music started with, I guess you girls would know this song. Whisper. That's the one. What was that? What was that,
Shake
Maggie?
it in the house.
That's it, guys. We'll be right back after this.
Now, surrounded by your embrace.
89.3 FM, that was Halo, and before that The Weekend, The Hills. I can't believe it's Friday, guys. We hope you guys are enjoying your drive home. It's Friday and the weather's looking crazy outside there. But going back to Tim, where to from here? Like, you've actually doing a lot of workshop, is that right at the moment?
Yes.
Can you give us some details for the workshop, the details, time, location?
Well, what we've done, I'm up here in Sydney at the moment from Adelaide, as you mentioned before, and we've been running around all day chasing venues.
Yeah.
So we've got we've actually got a 2 Saturdays in a row, we're doing some Zoom webinar workshops, free Zoom workshops.
Okay.
And this is predominantly for people that have got any fears or phobias or anxieties, people who are wanting to move forward. Yeah. And they're on the July the 21st and July the 28th. There'll be one in the morning at 10 o'clock on both days, and one in the afternoon at 1 o'clock both days. And they will go for about an hour. And anybody can plug into that. We've pretty much got unlimited space there. And we are looking forward to that. We're going to have a ball.
Fantastic.
And what we'll do is we'll put it up on our Three Quirks
yeah.
Facebook page, so everybody can click on the link.
Fantastic. Also, we touch base on farmers. I mean, the biggest issue we have now is with the farmers, and I'm not sure Adelaide, you guys are having the same problem with droughts and all that. Is that the same case with you as well in Adelaide? Yeah,
it is. I was talking to a friend of mine just yesterday, and he's a wheat farmer. And he's got 7,000 acres of wheat that he said he think he's just wasted his money seeding, because if they don't get rain in the next like real rain, not a drizzle, they're going to need 1 inch, 2 inches of rain. Otherwise, he's just lost it all. And he's not the only one. There's farmers, even up in the Riverland, where they, a lot of avocados and oranges and grapes, they are really in trouble.
You know, the funny thing is, like, this issue has been going on for a long, long time. And if you think about it, I feel that the government should do more to support our farmers, right? And this week I saw this article in the Daily Telegraph, and it really breaks my heart to see that our drought problem is still having a big issue. A lot of families are actually broken up, a lot of depression, a lot of suicidal, and also a lot of people are losing their home. And it makes me think, right? Like, if you look at Las Vegas and you look at Saudi Arabia, right, it's actually a desert, right? And yet they seem to have water 24/7. So why can't we have this kind of problem here? The desalination tank, right? Well, they're doing that overseas. Why can't we do that here?
Well, we've got a desalination plant in Adelaide that it's too expensive to run. They can't switch it on. The problem, we do not have a shortage of water in Australia. We have the problem we have is a lack of absolute vision. We put a program to the government many years ago to pipe some water from Lake Argyle across to Katherine, down into the Menindee Lakes near Broken Hill, and then down into the Darling River, right? The other thing is up near Darwin, there's a place called Butterfly Gorge. If they would blanket off, there is more water in Butterfly Gorge than in Sydney Harbour.
That's right. So that's my point. My point is that the government seems to always have this band-aid solution. It's actually not a long-term solution.
No, there's no vision. What we've got is we do not have any nation builders in Parliament in this country. That's and the people who are paying the price for that, one of the groups is our farmers.
Unfortunately, yes. To our listeners out there, if you can help in any way, please reach out and help our farmers.
How can our listeners help?
There is actually one of the farmers have a really incentive. Actually, he actually put it out there on social media to adopt his cows. Right,
really?
So you can actually adopt a cow or a sheep, say $100 a week or a month, and then you actually name that cow.
That's fantastic.
That's
so cool.
So that's what I'm thinking.
How creative! I love that.
And he's actually doing all right now, and he's actually
He's
saving a cow, shaping a sheep. So I just think if we can all put our brains together somehow, some way, and support our farmers, because at the end of the day, they are our food and butter.
That's true.
You know, they are our food and butter.
No farms, no food.
No. Well, once again, thank you so much for being here with us today, sharing your knowledge.
We get these workshop dates and stuff when he's touring around Australia?
What we're trying to do is we're trying to line Sydney up for late August, early September.
Okay.
Then we will go to the Gold Coast. Then we will go to Melbourne, and hopefully we'll have Melbourne's dates in, they will be in November.
Fantastic. You know what, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being here with us today, and have a safe trip back to Adelaide. And we definitely would like to see you back at this station, 89.3 again.
Love to come back.
Yes,
and thank you for your
Thank
hospitality,
you so
guys. It's been great. What a blast.
And have a safe trip back to Adelaide.
I certainly will. The wine capital.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You know, folks, another thing we would like to talk about is supporting our local artists, especially band and singers and all that. And you know, it is so hard for them to break into the industry these days, because if you think about it, there's a lot of open places back in the 80s and 90s where they support people with live music. in Australia, overseas, is the same thing. We don't support our local artists enough. And I was talking to one of the artists and the representative overseas about Castle Black. And Castle Black is a very unique kind of band. And I looked into the bio. I mean, they all seem to be more like the grungy kind of type of music, punk, alternative, and a new wave. And I think that's kind of missing in our music landscape in Australia for such a long time, you know. And I just think it's about time we bring something back like that, because a lot of people are requesting for that. So you know what, today we're going to play Castle Black. They're actually a Brooklyn-based rock band, but Australia, we want to be able to support these guys, so check their song out, Castle Black, Syria.
Very good.
Jolly good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I didn't have to ask many questions. You were just on flow.
Okay.
I'll get out of here and let the next band in.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Let's
You're
get in
welcome.
contact. Let's get in contact.
Okay. Thank you.